The Angry Chicken is a production of Amove TV. Bookmark amove.tv for more gaming and esports shows. The Angry Chicken is directly supported by listeners like you via patreon.com/TAC.
Hey everyone! Get in here! Ready for action! I've got the beast in my sight.
A podcast about Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft. This is the Angry Chicken.
I would have loved to have recorded the show while the Blizzard app queue was more than an hour long this morning, but we are here nonetheless for another episode of The Angry Chicken. Hello, everyone. I'm Garrett Weinzierl. I'm sitting here with Willie Dills Gregory and Jocelyn Moffat. Jocelyn, how's Hearthstone?
Not too bad. I was a little bit worried, though, with the whole, queue in this morning. I was like, oh, my God, once I'm into Hearthstone, I cannot leave. I won't be able to get back in.
It was
weird, because I don't think I've ever seen that.
No, well, it comes up every now and then when there's a big release of something, a WoW expansion, a Hearthstone expansion, sometimes even Overwatch events. But
even then, I've seen a queue to join the Hearthstone Tavern, but I've never seen a queue to get into the BattleNet app.
Oh, really?
In the BattleNet?
I've definitely seen that before. I want to say Legion launch day. I saw that.
Yeah, I don't ever, because there was a little door with a line of animated people slowly moving into it. I was I have never seen this before.
It was an intense damn day. I was looking at it because it put me in queue, and it's estimated 20 minutes, and then at one point it jumped up to 300 plus minutes. I'm just like, did World of Warcraft 2 come out? What did I miss something?
Yeah, what's happening?
Yeah.
It was pretty crazy. But yeah, we got patch 7.2.5 today in Warcraft. It was the big thing. So apparently that took everything down.
Yeah, which I'm very excited for, but not a 300 plus minute wait excited. That seemed a little I didn't actually wait that long to get in, but that was surprising to say the least. It's been a strange day for us Blizzard gamers.
I think it ended up taking about 25 or 30 minutes to get in. And then once I was in, I was like, all right, I'm not leaving. This is my spot. Screw you, people in the queue.
It was everyone at E3 being confused that Destiny 2 released today on PC. That's what it was. Everyone thought they could get in and play some PC Destiny. How about you, Deals? How you doing this week?
I've been having a pretty interesting season. I just started playing Murloc Paladin, and then won 90% of my games or something.
Yeah, I saw.
And just got to rank 4 really quick. I don't know what happened. I didn't really intend that to happen, and then it just kind of did. So now I'm like, okay, I guess I have to try this season.
Don't you hate it when that happens?
I know, I do.
You do really well early on, and then you're like, oh.
Yeah. I much prefer just screwing around and being at rank 15 by now. But yeah, it's, for whatever reason, I think it was just one of those things where the deck hit at the right time, right? It just queued well into everything. The only real bad matchup I think I have with the deck is Shaman, the Flood Shaman, because you sometimes you don't draw your Consecrate and then they just run you over. But outside of that, it's everything else seems pretty easy. But now.
Even mages?
Jocelyn even mages, I know. But now Jocelyn just told me that she's undefeated with this N'Zoth thing, so I'm going to have to...
Over in Wild, though. Over in Wild.
Well, that sounds great. This is the perfect excuse. I played Wild for half the season. That's why I didn't make Legend.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that happens.
So now I'm thinking about doing that. I'm going to make the switch, I think.
Yeah, I've been having so much fun. We're going to talk about it later, but yeah, it's a departure from the kind of mage I've been playing, and so that's why I like it. Because I do like mage, I haven't liked the, random casino type, discovering all of the...
burn, into... sure.
Into vomit.
Yeah.
Whether you're playing it or playing against it, doesn't matter.
Or watching it on tournaments, yeah. It's kind of there's that mage again. Oh, he's got a second fireball now, and he's there's another pyroblast. Okay, I think he's gonna win.
Yeah.
The only thing that would save him in this matchup is 5 ice blocks. Oh wait, he got it.
He's got 5 ice blocks. What do you know?
What do you know? Yeah.
Yep. 5 mana flame strike would be really bad right here. Oh, there it is. Oh, you know what? The only thing that would be worse is a second 5 mana flame strike. Oh, there it is again. Okay. Well, this is Hearthstone now. I'm a little salty about Mage right now. No, yeah, dude, I was on Friday night, like super late, as both of you know, I'm an old man apparently, even though I'm the youngest person on the show, and I don't usually do that. I'm not usually awake past 1 a.m. and I was
going to say, yeah, what's your late? Like I was up past 11. It was insanity.
I'm not that bad. Come on now. Yeah, if I'm up past 1 a.m. on a weekend, that's impressive for me at this point in my life. But yeah, I was up late. I was on my iPad playing some Hearthstone. And I look on my friends list. I'm like, I look at the date. I'm like, it's the 9th. I look at my friends list. Good God, Dills is rank 5. What happened?
Yeah, I don't like. That's the thing. I don't know what happened. I just was like, hey, this seems like a fun deck right now. And then I was like, oh, I never lose. Okay.
That's why it's a fun deck.
I guess I'll keep playing it.
Yeah, that has not been my experience. It's hilarious because Saturday, I had a long. Oh, it was the worst drive I've had in forever. The weather was just awful in Florida. I had to go to Orlando, so it was just accident after accident after accident, which meant, you know, traffic jam after traffic jam after traffic jam. But I went up to Orlando to say goodbye to our good friend Amy. You know, from the fireside.
That's right. She's headed
Florida.
my way.
Yeah, she's moving out to Austin.
I saw her like by Florida in the car selfie post, and I was like, "Aw."
Yeah. So we went up for her goodbye, like her goodbye party, and I'm sitting at the table with the other fireside guys, and I'm not joking, Dills. We're all sitting there celebrating the fact that we just hit rank 15, and you're sitting there rank 5 without even trying. So. Good on you, man. I'm glad it's been going so well as you walk away for, I'm assuming, coffee, or maybe Iggy's pooping on the floor. I know that feel. I know it.
I can't believe how early in the season it was. Like when Dills was like, "Oh yeah, I'm rank 5 or whatever." I was like, "Huh." It's like all of my whole month has been so busy with all the E3 coverage and everything else that I'm just like, oh man, it must be like the 20th or something. I'm never gonna be able to do anything in this season. And I'm like, what, the 13th? What are you doing up so high so early?
Well, that's the last time I compliment you, Dills. I was complimenting you, and you just took your headphones off. And
I'm sorry, the dog is puking.
The dog is puking. Oh, no, Iggy.
Garrett gets pooping, so like.
Yeah, I give pooping. That's my latest thing. Or eating poop is Zelda's latest.
No,
latest stuff.
He ate stuff he shouldn't have ate last night, I think.
Yeah. That's no good.
Because I ordered Chinese food, and I went to the bathroom, came back, and my Chinese food wasn't there anymore. Yeah.
My last top of the show thing I did want to mention is I gotta thank all the angry chickens out there who have been sending me Mayor Noggenfogger memes, including one where I have been photoshopped to be looking longingly at Mayor Noggenfogger. So I've been really enjoying these, so keep them coming. Thank you, everyone. I'm posting a link in the chat for there. But hey, before we get into news, we got some sponsors to thank. But first, I gotta ask, Dills, you ever eat food?
I've been known to eat some food from time to time. Sometimes my dog eats part of it, and it's great. Until today.
Oh, good. Well, have you heard of HelloFresh?
Actually, I have. It's HelloFresh. HelloFresh.
HelloFresh is HelloFresh. You should see if they want to trademark that.
Look, I'm still Californian, okay? So
okay, all right. I mean,
you can't take the California out of me. As Texas as you try to get me.
I lived there for 2 years. I never heard anyone ever say HelloFresh, but okay.
No, dude.
Well, that's good. That's good that you already know about the meal kit delivery service that makes cooking fun, easy, and convenient. It's good that you're already aware of that.
I am, actually. In fact, the last time that I cooked the HelloFresh, I made some sort of delicious hamburger that had it had jam and pickles and all the things that. Oh, sorry,
not like chutney?
Maybe it was a chutney. I don't know. See, this is the thing. I'm not smart enough to go to a store and pick chutney over jam.
End up with raspberry jam on your burger and
I'm just smearing grape jelly on my hamburger. Like, what are you doing, Dills?
That sounds
Get
so
some
awful.
Chutney on that. Yeah. So yeah, I remember it was delicious though. It was great. They had zucchini fries, a burger. It was amazing. It was and I've never replicated it sense.
Well, I was going into this sponsor pimpage expecting to be kind of tongue in cheek, but now you're just making me think of how I actually like how HelloFresh sends me stuff I enjoy eating and haven't had before.
I know. Yeah,
that's a way to go.
I think I was going to try to do a bit, and then I was like, you know what though, that chutney hamburger was amazing.
Well, and the other thing is too, I mean, like, I don't know about you guys, but I have no idea what else chutney would really go with. So I would go to the grocery store, even if I had one recipe, and then I'd buy a thing, and then the rest of it would go bad. But HelloFresh is all pre-measured, right? So
I'm going to look it up. Chutney, what does it go with?
Listen, if refreshment vendor doesn't throw it at me, I don't know what to do with it. So HelloFresh is your own personal refreshment vendor that sends you easy to cook fresh meals to your darn doorstep. And as always, we've got a code to share with you all. Use the code TAC30 when you subscribe over at HelloFresh.com to get $30 off of your first week of deliveries. I highly recommend it. I enjoy it. I like having dinners curated for me that change every week showing up at my door. It's pretty nice.
Hell yeah. That's amazing. By the way, here we go. Chutney. Have it on a sandwich.
Okay, so it is jam. It's secretly jam.
Yeah. Serve it alongside a cheese and or preserved cured meat platter. All right, these are all things that I would try if I was a responsible adult, but instead I'm just going to order HelloFresh and let them handle it for me because it's not going to happen.
Fantastic. Check it out. HelloFresh.com. Use the code TAC30. $30 off your first week deliveries. We thank them for their support. Now, let's get into this week's Hearthstone news, which is really more like Hearthstone speculation.
Good news, everyone!
We totally didn't just fix a technical issue live on the show or anything like that. Hey, yeah, so news this week. It's all speculation, all of it. There's really no like set in stone stuff. But the big thing is all of this talk about Return of the Lich King. That title, Return of the Lich King, has been trademarked by Blizzard recently. They snatched up the domain as well. This is in line with what has happened before every Hearthstone expansion since Whispers of the Old Gods. And hey, the three of us are big WoW fans, big nerds when it comes to World of Warcraft. The timing seems super weird for that to be the title of the next World of Warcraft expansion. So I'm drinking this Kool-Aid.
Yeah, because so with World of Warcraft, the kind of, I guess, majority of the player base who's all caught up on everything that's happening in the expansion is pretty convinced that after we deal with the Legion, we're going to be dealing with the Old Gods. There's been lots and lots of hints, lots of hints from the Shadow Priest weapon and some of the bosses that you've fought. Also, I randomly keep getting, when I'm walking through the game, almost like, you know, when Cthulhu talks to you in Hearthstone and he says things like, your minions have abandoned you and stuff. Like every once in a while, I just randomly hear these things when I'm walking through like Stormheim near like the Helya area. And it's just like, you will fail in this like big loud voice, but it doesn't show up in my chat. I'm like, what is happening? Am I going actually crazy?
I think you might be. I have not noticed this.
I haven't either. What are you talking about?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Are you sleeping okay?
I think you might have some serious anxiety issues, Jocelyn. I'm worried about you. I thought I had anxiety.
Anyways, there've been.
You should talk to somebody about that. Just be like, hey, some old gods are talking to me. Do you have anything?
Is this normal?
Tell me more about this old god.
Okay, so my experiences aside, there's also Il'gynoth in Emerald Nightmare who whispers things to you. There is a kind of Easter egg at the end of the Emerald Nightmare raid that points to old gods as well. So that's kind of where we think it's going. And even though Bolvar, who's the current Lich King, is could technically return in some way, maybe as the good guy, I think that would be a weird thing to name the next WoW expansion. Like, if he's going to help us fight the old gods, why wouldn't you name the expansion after the bad guy like it's been named for ever?
that story also feels to me like very complete. I don't think we need to go back to the Lich King just yet.
No, I don't.
World of Warcraft. And to be honest, too, the after you defeat, Gul'dan and the Legion, like, what's next? The Lich King again? No, that's weird. We should be fighting Void Lords.
Actually, no, that kind of makes sense, though. I mean, if you go Burning Crusade and Legion were fighting the Legion, and then so the next expansion was Lich King, so maybe we're going to Lich King again.
So it's always just Legion, Lich King, Legion, Lich King.
It's like Legion, Lich King, Big Dragon, then random new continent in some mists, and then we go time traveling, and then we start again with Legion.
The last time we fought old gods was just randomly in the middle of expansions. The old gods have always been mid-level bosses, essentially, right?
Yeah.
No,
we fought Cthulhu in Silithus, and we fought Yogg in Ulduar. Then there was a bigger baddie after that. Yeah. It is time for the old gods to be the biggest baddie.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. Not to mention, if N'Zoth is involved, you're going to have all this stuff with the Naga and Lady Vaj's back and all this.
Yeah, see, I think we're going to get
finally get that cool... Oh, there you go. Yeah. Plus we finally get that really cool cutscene. The
first raid.
Of N'Zoth finally showing up, right? We just haven't ever seen N'Zoth in the game. Literally the card N'Zoth is the only time we've seen N'Zoth.
Yep. Yeah, Hearthstone.
Apparently he's got a first mate. I don't know.
But yeah, so I think that you're right about it seems weird that Return of the Lich King would have anything to do with actual World of Warcraft. I think it's much more likely to be a Hearthstone expansion just of where we are in Warcraft lore in the universe right now. So not to mention it kind of, if you look at the kind of year of the mammoth,
the teaser image. This guy right here. I'm pulling it in. Okay. Jocelyn, how do we
production value?
How do we not notice this? So, Joss, you and I both, when we saw this, we're like, "Oh, arcane! Maybe we're going to the Nexus or something." These little drawn-on runes on the edges, I did not even freaking notice. Those are straight up like Frostmourne runes.
Well, they look similar. It's the same sort of style as the runes on Frostmourne, but they don't match exactly. So,
but also, aren't these symbols that you see in the little book from the Karazhan map? I swear both of all of those are in that little Karazhan spellbook thing in Hearthstone.
Be. Yeah, they're definitely very, very close to Lich King runes.
Yeah, they look so Lich King-y. So Lich King-y. The magic effects coming off of it look arcane to me, but the faint
the faint ones on the paper itself.
Right, they look drawn on the paper. Yeah, exactly. Those look like Frostmourne is hell to me. I know that they're not a direct match for any of the Frostmourne runes, but if you run around the Northrend zone in the game, there's random runes everywhere, and they all kind of have that look to it.
Yeah, they definitely do. And so I think Return of the Lich King fits that. I think that is very Northrendy, so I could see even having a section of the expansion could be about the Blue Dragonflight and the Nexus and the Oculus and all that kind of cool stuff.
Those all tie together. So
they do all tie together.
Totally makes sense.
So.
Yeah.
Carrick in the chat room got it right. He says, "Just kidding. It's an expansion about inscription."
Yeah, we're finally getting professions in Hearthstone.
Oh god, that'd be so hilarious, so freaking hilarious.
I built you these shoulders. You're like, okay.
So there's been a lot of speculation around Reddit, and without a doubt, my favorite crazy tinfoil hat theory is using our last two card backs as evidence, saying that the last two card backs were not only locations that Arthas visited, they're in the order that Arthas visited them.
And I didn't look at the $1 card back, which is actually the reward for June, but they always have the flavor text even when they're grayed out before you can earn them as long as they're in the game. But the Sunwell flavor text 100% mentions Arthas. It says that the something about the tourism in Kel'Thalos really went down after Arthas destroyed the city or something like that. It's some sort of Arthas reference in the card text for that card back. So
that damn Arthas always messing up tourism.
Messing up the tourism, yeah. And the fact that I think that's even more evidence for this theory, and I feel like it's the kind of Easter egg that the Hearthstone team might realistically leave us. So. Okay. Yeah, I like this idea. I think it'll kind of depend what the July, I would love to see a Lordaeron, or maybe even stretch it a little further and make it an Undercity card back. I think that because after he goes to Dalaran, he goes to reclaim his throne in Lordaeron, right? And kills his dad and all the rest of it. Sure. And then goes to Northrend.
Wait, he kills his dad before he goes to Sunwell and Dalaran.
Ah, you're right. Oh, you know what he does? He goes back to Lordaeron because of the Dreadlords.
Yes.
That's the Dreadlords in Sylvanas Park.
He returns after he sacked it.
He did a whole bunch of circles. He went to Northrend a couple times. He went
a lot of dads to kill. You know?
Yeah. Well, you got to go back to
his own.
You got to go restock the fridge for the Scourge up north. You got to go back and feed the kids.
I got to get over there. There's more dads. Yeah, no, you're right. He did quite a tour. A tour de force, if you will. Before.
Sorry, I completely forgot that the dollar round card back was for this month, so it's not technically in game yet. So we haven't gotten both of them yet, but whatever the case is.
But it is officially the June reward. So
by the way, I just tried to go to journeytoungoro.com because I was like, you're right. They have always taken these .coms, right? Before they put the thing out. But there's never anything there.
Does it even redirect to...
No, it just tells you, like, hey, there's nothing here, and you can't have it. That's basically what it says. It's literally like just them, like, protecting their assets, right? Yeah. Like, they don't actually use these.
Yeah, they are using Ungoro.com, though. It does redirect to the official...
Ungoro.com? Okay, so that goes directly to Battle.net whatever /
Yeah,
like their announcements.
I'm triple checking.
Playhearthstone.com. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ungoro.com. Got it.
I want to say Ungoro.com was. I saw that in some promotional stuff around the lead up, but whatever the case is, yeah. I'm totally. I'm all in. I am drinking this blue colored Kool-Aid. Clearly, it has to be blue. But I'm
obvious. Oh, now I get it.
they got to do it like a Hearthstone spin, right? Like it can't just be straight up like super serious or the Lich King is here. Like there's got to be a joke to it. And I know at BlizzCon last year I made the joke that I want like Arthas's 80s ski movie, but I don't know if they'll go that far.
That's a little bit of a stretch.
I mean, as much as I like playful, fun, goofy Hearthstone, I'm kind of ready for a more serious take on stuff. I mean, after the return to Karazhan and after, like just Mean Streets was kind of a little bit more serious, I guess. But Ungoro, like everything is just
Old Gods was pretty serious.
Yeah, Old Gods was serious. So I think that there's room in Hearthstone for a serious imagining of Icecrown, Northrend, Arthas, whatever all of this expansion is going to be. But yeah, I really don't want to see like Arthas's Hawaiian vacation or something.
No, I think
really was dumb. Like,
yeah, Karazhan was like the silliest thing that they've really done. If you think about it, like Goblins versus Gnomes, you could say, oh, it's silly because it's.
I mean, that was pretty silly. It was pretty damn silly.
But like in the end, like there wasn't that much actual silliness. Like it wasn't like taking. Like it wasn't like Goblins and Gnomes were super serious in World of Warcraft, and then they made them goofy, right? They just happened to be kind of goofy.
That's a good point.
Like they freaking ride, like they ride mechanical raptors and whatnot. Like, okay, now you take Karazhan and then you turn it into a disco party. That's being like silly.
Yeah.
I think that Hearthstone, even though it's got this reputation as being like the silly game, hasn't really like taken that much of serious World of Warcraft stuff and made it super silly on its own. Gadgetzan was very seedy underbelly mob stuff. Not necessarily like silly, right? I mean, I think if they take Lich King, they're not going to make a joke out of it. Like Lich King is no joking matter, right?
I was going to say, I feel like it's very near and dear to so many WoW fans. Like, everyone, if you ask what their favorite WoW expansion was, like 9 people out of 10 are going to say Wrath of the Lich King. Like, so many people love Arthas and just loved Icecrown and Ulduar raiding and just everything about that expansion. People are really hardcore, even like to the point of like that was the PvP they liked. Like every part of the game, people look back on and say Lich King was
baby.
It. Yeah, Wintergrass, exactly. So I feel like if they then took all of that, like that's so near and dear to so many people who actually played Warcraft and then like made it really silly, like Arthas's ski adventure, like I think they might lose a lot of people.
People would riot.
People would be upset.
By the way, this is a good question someone just brought up in chat. Do you think if it's Return of the Lich King, do you think it's Arthas or do you think it's Bolvar?
Well, okay, because of the name.
All right, Garrett. You have the floor.
I can jump in, but I think this is Garrett's baby.
I mean, if it's not Arthas, I'm done. I will just walk away from the like. If we get Bolvar Lich King in this game as a card or hero or whatever before we get an Arthas Lich King, I'm gonna riot. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to any friends of mine that work at Blizzard. I'm going to be insufferable at BlizzCon this year if that happens.
I mean, that's fair enough. And by the way,
Jocelyn and Year of the Unicorn, like
yeah, the like timeline in Hearthstone isn't necessarily the timeline of World of Warcraft, right? No. So you don't have to have it be Bolvar is the current Lich King. Like you could definitely say this hasn't really happened yet. in Hearthstone.
Well, and I mean, technically, even Arthas was like the return of the Lich King, because Arthas wasn't the original Lich King, right? So
no, and
he was just a blonde young hero trying to make his way in Azeroth.
And Carrick in the chat room says, why not both? And I was even going to say, like, if they had named it something else, I could see it. Like, what if it was like Bolvar and Arthas kind of warring as like these two Lich King factions? That would be cool. But I feel like they would have named it something different than Return of the Lich King. That sounds very singular.
Well, this is also going to be our first set of cards this year that's going to be the expansion adventure hybrid. Like, we're actually going to get some single player content in this expansion.
Yep.
So it could be really interesting if they have some sort of like storytelling mechanic in there to kind of start with like Kel'Thuzad and Ner'zhul, and then go through like Arthas and then into Bolvar. Like, there's no reason why we couldn't have a Lich King Hearthstone expansion that went through like all of that history through the single player storytelling.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And again, to talk about like the treatment, like I was saying, it needs a Hearthstone spin. You're very right in that Wishes of the Old Gods, like, it wasn't overly goofy, and it did tackle some of the darkest motifs in Warcraft lore, but the way that it was just presented, it still had that Hearthstone whimsical nature of it. Like, I think we mentioned at the time that yes, it was dark, yes, it was evil, but it was like Disney dark and evil.
Yeah,
and I could see them doing the exact same thing with Lich King as a motif. I could see the image in my head of, I don't know, like, you think of it, you could tell the story of the Lich King like a creepy child's tale, like with a book. I could see a book on a table chronicling the story of the Lich King, and there being some creepy rhyme in the trailer for this, possibly not real expansion that we probably spent too much time
like
speculating
the Grimm
about.
Fairy Tales.
Yeah, exactly, that type of thing.
All right, so I have one more thing to kind of like bring up here and present to you guys as an idea.
Okay.
If this is what we're getting, this would make sense then for us to get like a new Tyrion and a new Bolvar card, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, wouldn't this be the time to get, like, because we've had 2 Hoggers, we've had 2 Ragnaroses, we've had,
Yeah.
This is the time to reintroduce those guys, right? And then maybe at the same time we could rotate Tyrion into the Hall of Fame. Ooh.
Quite possible. So yeah, you could have like Bolvar the Lich King as a card,
sure.
right?
Because you got Bolvar Fordragon, who is the never used Paladin card,
Yeah.
right? Which is the
I played him so much when that
attack
first
every
came
time
out.
someone dies.
I played it so much when it first came out.
I remember you were very excited about this card, Garrett.
I mean,
And
in
then
like the
it
first
just-
like 2 weeks of that expansion, it was pretty fun to play with, and it actually got work done. But then mid-range Paladin was figured out. It was also one of the strongest damn decks in the game, and you just didn't need him.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were just like, why would I put this 5-drop? Well, also, though, at the time, he was butting up against Sludge Belchers and Azure Drakes, right?
Yes.
In the 5 slot, so
Yeah, we're
didn't
still,
make a lot of sense.
We're still talking Naxxramas cards being legal in the game at that time point. Or point
So,
in time,
okay,
if I
so
wanna
let's-
make correct English.
How about this as an idea, right? So we rotate Tyrion into the Hall of Fame. We rotate Archmage Antonidas. We rotate King Crush. We rotate all of the original legendaries into the Hall of Fame, the class legendaries.
Oh, that's
And we get
Technically-
new class legendaries for everybody.
That would
And
be
maybe
super cool.
Hunter actually has a useful one. And maybe, you know what I mean? Like, that would be, I think that would be a cool thing.
Yeah, I would be totally fine with Tyrion rotating sooner rather than later.
The problem that I have with it is just that, like, the ones that have a good one in the classic set now just always have a good legendary, and then the ones that don't just always don't. You know what I mean? So, yeah, if we could rebalance that a little bit, I think that'd be kind of cool.
Completely agree. And I would like to see some sort of new, like, reimagining of Tyrion. Because, like, he kind of went through that point in time. Like, there was, he helped, and I'm totally
He could be
blanking
Tyrion
on...
in an ice block, right?
well,
yeah, Ice Block Tyrion.
He's like, I'm trying to help.
the
I was thinking he helped the orc, and then so he was stripped of his. He had the whole trial thing and got stripped of his paladin-ness, and then so he was kind of like Tyrion the Hermit almost. So we could have like a Hermit Tyrion card.
Yeah.
No. If we're doing Lich King, you got to do tier 10. Tier 10 Tyrion. That's what he wore when he stormed Icecrown. That's what he wore.
And that's
when...
what you just call him, tier 10 Tyrion.
Tier 10
Tier
Tyrion.
10 Tyrion.
Oh, please do. Oh my God, if they do that, I'll laugh so hard. That'll be amazing.
We'll see. Okay, maybe he is Ice Block Tyrion, and he's got tier 10 stuff. Sure. Okay. You play him, he's like in an ice block, and then after like 2 turns, he unleashes. Yeah.
No,
unleashes
after you already win,
crazy.
After you already win the game, he just comes out and pretends like he helped.
Yeah, he comes out. He's like, I helped. You're like, get out of here, Tyrion. Damn it.
That's how he works.
Put the damn helmet on Bolvar. Get out of here. Yeah.
All right. I think that's enough speculation for now.
We probably exhausted this piece of news.
As needless to say, I think all 3 of us are very excited about the prospect of the Lich King and a Northrend motif coming to Hearthstone. Yes. Also, take a drink every time I say motif this episode. Right. Moving on with the speculation. PC Gamer, Tim Clark recently sat down with Ben Brode and had some words with him. It's a good interview. I recommend you go and read the entire thing. We're obviously cherry picking some of the most conversation starting points from this interview, but it's long. It's got 2 pages. Go give it a read. Definitely over at PCGamer.com right now. Moving on. Tim Clark asked Mr. Ben Brode if he had to send one more card to the Hall of Fame right now, which would it be? And Ben said he might consider Alexstrasza or Gadgetzan Auctioneer. He said, quote, I think it's a great card. It's been fun regarding Auctioneer, but I think people have been playing it for enough years that Standard would like some new strategies.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we know Gadgetzan was one of the ones that they were considering anyways, right? And they ended up getting rid of Conceal instead. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's on their radar as something that should be rotated, and I think in general the community is kind of ready for it to go. And I think Alexstrasza is up on that list too. I think that as long as Alexstrasza is in the game, then Bernie kind of mages are going to be in the game, and obviously I am sick of Bernie mages.
I know, I agree with you, but I think Alexstrasza is a card that I wouldn't mind just kind of always being there because it is a card that enables interesting strategies, right? Being able to set health to exactly half of what health is.
Yeah,
for a big cost is an interesting thing. Mm-hmm. I think Gadgetzan, all you have to really do is replace it with something else that's like an engine, some sort of a card draw engine. Doesn't have to work with spells, doesn't have to do whatever. You could just figure out some other way to do it. It's fine, but Alexstrasza is kind of like this. It's its own thing, right? It doesn't. Yeah. It'd be hard to put in another card that says set something to 15. Like, I don't know. It just, to me, that card would be okay if it always existed. I think really mages wouldn't be so annoying with Alexstrasza if they didn't also have Ice Block, right? So take Ice Block away, and Alexstrasza is no longer a problem. I kind of like the idea of having a card that kind of does that. So I don't know. I like Gadgetzan over Alexstrasza all day.
I mean, I have it out for mages worse than anyone right now, like class-wise. I'm not saying I am the angriest at mages of everyone in the world, although that might be true. But I don't know. I feel like if you remove Reno, Alexstrasza is definitely on the chopping block. All the reasons I would want to keep Reno are the same reasons I'd want to keep Alexstrasza.
Sure, but Alexstrasza and Reno don't really work the same way at all, right? Like Reno, you have to build your deck around and all this other stuff.
Yeah, but I don't. I was listening to your pro Alexstrasza points, and at the end of the day, they both create very interesting things that are unique.
They do.
There's no other card that does what they do.
Yes,
true. Reno is definitely way more of a build around. It straight up dictates how you should build your deck. But
I would like to see Alexstrasza be useful to classes other than Mage. I think that's really like, I think the issue isn't really Alexstrasza. It's just that nobody else can really utilize what Alexstrasza does, because Ice Block. Remember when there was Alexstrasza plus 0 mana charge plus friggin' 7 attack weapon?
Warrior
Gorehal, yes. And you would OTK people, right? Mm-hmm. You would put Gorehal on, and the next turn you would charge Alexstrasza and kill them. That was kind of a cool thing. It wasn't a great deck. It was an okay deck, and it was frustrating to lose against because you got OTK'd. But it's just that mages are the only ones that can make themselves safe, then spend a turn just knocking your health down, and then just the next few turns burn you out. They're the only class that can really utilize it, right? So... And Gadgetzan Auctioneer can be utilized by Rogue and Druid pretty well. And even we've seen some other classes experiment with it. I've seen Priest. People try to do Miracle Priest or Miracle Mage or something like that. So it's got a lot of uses in a lot of cases. But Alexstrasza has really never been in any other deck but Mage because of Ice Block, I think. So I'd just like to see him build more cards that could be useful with Alexstrasza. And then let us kind of keep that potential strategy.
They could, like, I mean, because this is the thing with rotations, right? It's always still going to be available in Wild.
Yeah.
So moving Alexstrasza over to Wild, it still allows you to build cards that, like, work with her, but just, like, allow that strategy of the Burn Mage to just kind of get out of the world of Standard. Which
I'm okay with that.
I'd be okay with that. Yeah, it's not like they're saying we're putting Alexstrasza in the shredder. No one can play with it ever.
I'm not against them moving it to Wild for sure. I just think that out of those two cards, like I think Gadgetzin
Auctioneer's worse,
had its time more than Alexstrasza. Like Alexstrasza is still hard to play. You know what I mean? It's like to me, Alexstrasza has always been kind of like Jiraxis, where just like the turn to Alexstrasza is hard to get to. It's not just like a thing you can throw down whenever. So that I like cards like that. I like cards that are interesting and hard to play.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I also wouldn't be heartbroken if just both of them got sent to the Hall of Fame along with Tyrion. Why not? I'm a big Paladin fan, but I wouldn't be sad to see Tyrion go. I would like to see how everything would develop in a Sans Tyrion world, though maybe wait till next year because I'm glad that Paladin's playable again. So.
Sure. It is kind of cool what Standard has done, though, if you think about it. Like, from an overall standpoint, what the game looks like now, there is no longer this thing where someone's just kind of chilling out and stalling the game out, and then all of a sudden they're like, and evolved Kobold and burn you out completely, right? Like, it feels more like you always have multiple turns to play. And so, like, getting rid of something like Alexstrasza would continue down that path, right? Of the game is, like, not this OTK fest. It's you play minions, you have puzzles, you keep doing that type of thing. Alexstrasza does enable strategies that are OTK centric. So,
yep. Ben also said that they are absolutely open to nerfing Wild cards, just that no specific cards have hit that threshold yet. When asked if, hey, you open the nerfing Wild cards.
Yeah, what is like nerfable in Wild right now? I don't know.
I feel like the kind of influx of cards of the new expansion is almost nerfing anything that was potentially problematic in Wild anyways. I mean, even we're going to talk about it in strategy in a minute, but like even the popular legendary of Dr. Boom, like he's not in that many.
He's too slow.
Well, yeah, like he's not in that many decks though. Like, I mean, we were going to talk about the Wild tournament and he was in 3 decks. So, I mean, like that used to be everyone used to call for a nerf on Boom, right? And I feel like just having more options is like nerfing some of the old cards in and of itself.
Like what freaking deck plays to turn 7 in Wild, you know?
The super awesome mage deck that I've been playing.
Secret Paladin, because that's, turn 6 you play your Mysterious Challenger, and turn 7 you win.
You got Dr. 6, Dr. 7, and Dr. 8 in that deck, But like that deck's not even good anymore. Like it's so funny to me what Wild has shown me. Because we used to be like, oh my god, a 1/3 weapon and 3 1/1s is that's imba, that's crazy. How could you ever allow that to be a single card? And then Pirate Warrior's like, hold my beer. I'm going to play a 1/1 that charges, a 2/1 that charges, a 1/3 weapon, and a 1/1 on turn 1. I'm going to do all that.
Ta-da!
Yep.
Get on my face, Paladin.
Yeah.
A muster for battle? Come on.
Secret Paladin is still totally fine, in my opinion. As a matter of fact, it was destroying that Reno Nazoth mage that Jocelyn's so in love with, for me at least earlier. Maybe I just suck or Drew unfortunate, but it seemed to be going pretty poorly there. And when I went and did some research, it was like, yeah, Paladin's a bad matchup for this deck.
Sure.
It definitely still has its days, and I love Dude Paladin in there. Like, Muster's still a thing, but yeah, you're right. You're not going to... Also, I don't think anyone was like, Muster's like an aggro card. I mean, you play 3 1/1s, then you get to ping for 1 in that turn. So
Sure, but at the time, there wasn't anything as quick as it, right? No. Like, it was like the best turn 3 you could do in the game at the moment. So now things are a little different. And I do like the fact that Wild is just actually insane. I don't know if I necessarily want them to go in there and nerf stuff. It's just like, let the players figure out. Like, if you're in there and you're not playing something insane, like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you in Wild, right?
For me, I don't know what the threshold is for Team 5, for Brode or anyone. He didn't really say. He just said, I don't think we've gotten there yet. And I agree with him. I don't think we have. For me, it would be if we started seeing like 1 or 2 decks just over and over and over and over again in Wild. Sure. And they've already fixed that in Standard, and it doesn't seem like that's going to happen anytime soon in Wild. So as long as we're not there, I don't want to see things messed with. I love that I can go in and be like, oh yeah, holy crap, Dr. Boom, I haven't played with you in forever. You still do the same thing. It's wonderful.
No, it's true. And I think I was watching the Wild tournament, and Frodan said something like 15% of the decks you run into in Wild are the Pirate Warrior, which is probably the strongest deck in the format. So if the strongest deck in the format is at 15%, I think we're doing okay.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, I can believe it.
Once it's like 30%, then we've got a problem. Like when we had Shaman for a while in Standard, that's when you start to think about things. But for now, it's fine.
Yeah. I love that. We're just like, I love the Wild is actually insane. It's actually insane. Like that should be the tagline for Wild. Like you mouse over it.
It's actually insane.
Mouse over it, tooltip comes up, and it just says actually insane. I love it so much. Wild's in a great, but both are Standard and Wild, both in great places in my opinion.
Hell yeah. 2 months into this expansion, and we're still like loving them. I don't know. I had one guy come into my chat the other day and say, "This meta is the worst it's ever been." Everybody was like, "What?" Like nobody agreed with him, and I think that's a good sign, right? When everyone thinks that's a crazy thought.
Yeah, I think it just comes down to the kind of meta you like, because if you like the meta where there's 2 or 3 decks and you don't have to learn all that much and your matchups are all very predictable because everyone's playing the same 2 or 3 decks, then yeah, this meta is terrible. It's the worst it's ever been because there's like 25 decks that are totally viable. So yeah, I can see that guy's point, but it sounds to me like he just likes to know his matchups. So there's too much variety right now.
Yeah.
But it's not the way I think that a majority
Go play StarCraft.
Yeah,
3 races.
Exactly. 3 races. Rock, paper, scissors. Go ahead.
It's not that simple. Don't you dare
I know.
No,
don't you dare disrespect StarCraft.
One is paper, one is scissors. That's how it works, right?
It's basically a 3-way tower defense.
Yeah. It's you just basically queue, and then you're like, oh, I win.
Stop being
or,
reductive.
oh, I lose.
That's how it feels sometimes.
Yeah, damn it. Yeah,
Except
really.
For just the second part where I lose.
For me, I'm whatever 4th thing is that loses to everybody when I play StarCraft. I suck.
God, I want to hammer. Like, Hearthstone is in such a badass place right now. It really is. Like, I still have my complaints. I always have my complaints, and I'm sure you do too as well. But like, even today, like, I was complaining on Twitter about Hearthstone, but I prefaced it with, I have never loved this game more than I do right now. But mages can eat a D.
So I'm looking at my actual stats right now, and I'm definitely facing more mages than anybody. And I think I've faced 0 warlocks. So if there is an issue, that there is 0 warlock this season, but mage is the most at 20%. Like, that's fine, right? Yeah. That's great. I love it.
I think mine was somewhere around there too for last season. Somewhere in and around 20 to 25% mages, and there were, I think, about 4 classes that made up about 60% of my matches. So
yeah, it's
there are a few classes around between the 10 and 20% marks.
Yeah. I'm seeing mostly mage, shaman, warrior, and rogue.
Yeah.
I think that's what I'm seeing most of.
Yeah.
But they all have like options. They're not, you don't necessarily know exactly what deck it is as soon as you see it, right? Like druid has 2, rogue has 2, mage has like 5.
Warrior
shaman
basically has 2.
Shaman kind of has 1 right now, but it's like that's where the game should kind of always sit. I think is that when you queue into somebody, you have to think about what the possibilities are and not just, oh, warrior, okay, I know what that is. Oh, mage, I know what that is. That's when things are bad.
Yep. Finally, Ben, the last point I wanted to bring up from this interview is that Ben made it sound like that they're considering releasing cards during the stale period of time in like the 3 to 4 month mark after an expansion. He said, quote, the meta feels stale, and for about 1 or 2 months before releasing the next set, there's some dissatisfaction. There's a couple of options, he said, and we're exploring options. The thing you mentioned, referring back to a question that Tim Clark had brought up, releasing cards at that point, meaning that time, that kind of lull before the next expansion, is one of the options.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's crazy to me. Like, what do
mini expansion? I don't know about all that. I like just changing cards, whether it's nerfs or buffs.
No, hold on. What if they just made like 5 cards and they just gave them to us?
I mean, sure, fair enough, but that's just weird though, because I don't know. Like, they either have to be really good so that they actually do stuff, and then you're like, your problem is power creep, right? Like, if you just suddenly give us 5 new cards and none of them are good enough to go into any decks, you haven't done anything, right? I'd much prefer just taking cards that are currently being played a lot and adjusting them a tiny bit.
Yeah.
Than just throwing 5 cards at us and being like, here, this should do something. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't know, because, I mean, yes, it's kind of stale, quote unquote. We're now in month 3 of Ungoro, and I'm not playing as much standard, but it's not because I'm sick of the game or because I think it's stale or because I think it's not fun. I've just either been busy with other stuff or I've been trying out like Wild, and I've been moving into other parts of the game, and I think that's kind of healthy. I want to feel like I have the time to do that.
Sure.
And I think if you make too many changes in between, because I mean, really, so this is month 3, month 4, we're expecting we're going to get an announcement, right? So then there's going to be the announcement, all the theory crafting, all the hype and everything else. And I think having a little bit of a staler meta while all the rest of that is going on is also kind of fine. But again, that means that I'm expecting a month at most of hype around an expansion, and then so I'm expecting one expansion to have at most 4 months of ladder time. And if they keep having expansions like Ungoro that had really good impacts in and of themselves, made a really fun meta, gave me a lot of different decks to play, and made it so that it was super fun to play for more than just the first 2 weeks of the expansion, that's where the key to not feeling like a stale lull in the middle of expansions comes from. Not from just like randomly giving me 5 extra cards after 2 months.
Yeah, but I think this discussion still needs to be had, because I think it's just unrealistic to expect every expansion to last as long in the interest factor as Ungoro or as Whispers did before. I think right now, like, again, like we mentioned last week, we haven't had enough standard rotations, I think, to really pinpoint a pattern. But my bet right now is we're going to see probably the biggest relief of staleness at the beginning of every year when the standard rotation happens, because you're losing cards and gaining cards simultaneously. I think that's all. If I had to put money on an assumption, that's where I would put it.
No, I'm with you, but I also think, like, I like Jocelyn's point that when a meta gets a little stale, it's almost like it frees you up to go do other things in the game. So a bit of a stale meta is not always a negative, right? It can be a positive, and I honestly kind of hope that they start to look at that cycle as, we don't have to just put stuff out every 4 months, and it's like, here's a bunch of stuff, and then for 4 months, nothing. It would be very cool if 2 months into each expansion, you got non-expansion related content releases, right? Like, this is when we do something arena focused. This is when we do some sort of brawl thing. This is when we do some sort of, like that. And I think that's a very viable thing they could really be looking at. They just kind of right now, the release schedule kind of dictates everything that they do, right?
Yeah.
Everything just seems to always happen all at once. And we could drip feed some of that other content, Like drip feeding the cards,
Don't like it.
yeah. But giving us little bits of other stuff in between
even
other card releases could be very cool.
Even if we had some sort, like whatever the single player content is going to look like, if there aren't any actual cards tied to it, I wouldn't even mind, a couple of months after the big expansion releases, then be like, here is something cool for you to do. Play some single player content with those cards. Or, hey, play some single player content with these cards as like a preview of the thing. So, like, here's your single player content. In a month and a half, you're going to get the expansion. You can play with the cards in single player just to get used to them and see them and stuff. And then, in a month and a half, you'll have them in the expansion. You can play with them on ladder. That would be a cool thing to do too.
Yeah, it would be. I like the idea of the single player as a kind of a lead up into it. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, sure. It's like an event, right? Yeah. Like leading up to the actual next thing. By the way, too, it doesn't always have to be like a full on release of new features. This could be when they tweak arena rules. This could be when they just do little things so that suddenly you're like, okay, let me go see what that's all about. Let me
so something else is new.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be always, that's when we release tournament modes. Like it could just be, okay, we've upped the rares or we've downed the rares or the spells we've normalized. Like anything that they want to try to affect the arena meta would be a welcome addition in the middle of an expansion, right?
I think this is my favorite thing we've landed on, is this kind of focus on just other ways to play Hearthstone, or like kind of stretch your legs, go explore other avenues of play within the game. And tie it into the discussion from last week. If they add a tournament mode, or if they add a best of 3 mode, or over the course of our entire conversation of this entire show, if they add another way to play Arena, like a different format, like the more those things get added on, the more I don't care about the meta getting stale, because I still want to come to Hearthstone and play in its ecosystem, because there's other ways to play once standard or once wild gets a little long in the tooth.
Exactly. Yep. I think there's always this weird kind of thing that people think of in Hearthstone where standard ladder is the only thing. It's like, that's the only thing the game is. And I get it. Most people play that exclusively. But maybe they wouldn't if they had a little incentive to go other places, you know?
Yeah.
There's more buttons in that client, guys.
Well, so I think so many folks focus on the game needs new stuff, add cards. And even like the language coming out from Team 5, the focus is always on, oh, well, you guys get 3 expansions a year. And my argument has always been, well, that's just kind of expected as a card game. Like, let's get a few more systems in. Let's work on our systems. Let's work on our formats. So I would like to see more of that talk from Team 5, and also maybe more of that discussion from the community, as opposed to just like, all right, let's get new cards, or let's nerf these things. It's like, well, why don't we just add more ways to play? Mm-hmm. So, whatever the case is, I'm definitely still consider nerfs. Like, do whatever's right for the game.
Yes, yeah.
So
right now, though, what would you like to see nerfed, to be honest?
I don't want to nerf. I want information about my discovered cards and stolen cards. That's what I want.
I'm with you. Primordial Glyph is the only card that I think would be on my radar right now.
I want to tweak.
Like, I want to tweak. I don't understand why you discover and get a discount. What the hell is that all about? Like, why?
You should just discover. End of story.
Yeah, or discount by 1. Like 2 is so much. I don't like
2
discovering
is so much
a card.
When the cost of the original card is 2.
Yeah. Discovering a card should have a cost.
Yeah,
but apparently it doesn't.
Unstable Portal made sense because you didn't get to choose what you got. You just cast it and you got a thing. Yeah. The discount there made sense. Discover is worth something. It should not be free.
Every other thing pays for it. Like, I don't get it. What? Yeah. Ivory Knight is a 4/4 for 6.
Yeah.
You're paying for that tempo loss. You know what I mean? Whether you gain health or not. Like,
I'm in a good headspace.
Here, all of a sudden, you don't even pay for it. Okay, anyway.
I'm in a good headspace. Don't goad me into being grumpy old man Garrett again. I don't want to do it. But yeah, Mage and Priest right now are driving me bananas. But anyways, hey, before we move on to our strategy talk, where we're going to talk about a bunch of wild decks, we got another sponsor to thank, Harry's.com. Hey, Joss, you ready? You ready for Father's Day? It's this weekend.
I am now. And it's actually awesome because my dad did his stupid thing that he does every year for his birthday, Father's Day, and Christmas, which was, don't get me anything. I don't need anything. You don't need ideas. And I'm like, Dad, I'm going to get you something. Please give me ideas. And he never, ever does. And then so this year, it's amazing because Harry's is giving, like, has these super awesome Father's Day gift packs. And I'm just like, sold. Take that, Dad. You're getting a gift and you're gonna like it.
The exact conversation I have with my dad around any gift giving event.
What is it with dads and being hard to buy for and refuse to give ideas?
I don't know, man. They didn't have video games. Because when I have kids, I'm gonna be like, yep, I want this new video game thing. It's E3. Go pre-order me freaking Destiny 2, please. Thank you.
Yeah. Just shoot me a little Steam credit and I'll be good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, Harry's.com, as you probably heard us mention it again, but just in case, I mean, they really do make great razors at a great price. Go to Harry's.com/TAC to check it out. But this is the last chance to talk about Father's Day. They have their limited edition Father's Day shave set available right now. Comes with a storm gray razor handle, chrome razor stand, foaming shave gel, 3 replacement blades, and a travel cover. You can even opt to get a custom engraving in that razor stand. It's arcade rules though, 3 characters. So don't, unless your dad's initials are ASS though. Don't do that to your dad. That's not nice. That's not nice.
It'd be pretty funny though.
Yeah, it would be. It would be. I would never let my dad down if that were his initials. Oh, it was named after him, so maybe I would. Whatever the case is, we thank Harry's.com for their support of the show. And go to Harry's.com/TAC to get $5 off one of their shave sets, including the Father's Day set. We love ours. Yes, we do. I'm totally keeping one for myself, by the way. I don't care. I don't care if it's supposed to be a Father's Day set. I like that storm gray motif because I said it one more time.
You guys are puppy dads. It counts.
Oh, yeah, I guess I am. It doesn't. Now I think I'm like a bad dad or something. I yell at my puppy a lot. Like, stop doing that. Why are you doing that? All right.
I give my puppy whatever he wants all the time.
Hence the Chinese food puke on your floor right now.
Which also makes me maybe a bad dad. I always see like other dogs and they're super well trained, and I'm like, I just let my dog do whatever he wants. Am I bad?
Yep. Mine's just jumped up in my lap because it's thundering outside and he's scared.
Aww.
See, but I think though that I'd have like the most punk rock dog ever, right? Like, if he was a teenager, he'd be like the teenager who had dyed his hair black and had like a nose ring, played death metal like that would be my dog.
So is it the most punk dog ever or the most metal dog ever? Because now you're mixing genres.
Either way.
Okay, that's fine.
You can mix and match. They're interchangeable.
Dills will accept him no matter what his
exactly.
choice.
Look, you can come to me with anything, Iggy. Tell me who you really are. It's fine.
You do you, Iggy. You do you.
Yep. Exactly.
All right. Well, we thank Harry's for their support and for keeping my neck beard in check. Now, let's talk some wild decks.
Hit it very hard.
Wanna blow something up? Time to pay!
Okay, so the Wild Tournament had its qualifiers this past weekend. We have our top 8, and we also have many tried and tested now through the gauntlet of competition Wild decks. I've been looking over at Hearthstone. They have 6 of the top 8 players, all of their deck lists posted, and I just went down a rabbit hole. I don't know why. I don't always do this. I almost never do this with tournaments, but I was just like, ooh, Wild Tournament. I'm gonna look at all of these and see what trends I can find and what pops out at me as unique. And I don't know, I just went down this rabbit hole and decided it would make a cool little strategy talk today. And if nothing else, hopefully spark some interest for you out there who still maybe for whatever reason haven't tried Wild. Here's some deck ideas for you.
Yeah.
So
it's very cool to have like Wild net decking is finally becoming a thing. I don't know if you saw, like, Vicious Syndicate is going to start putting out a Wild meta snapshot. Finally, Tempo Storm's been doing it for a while. I don't know if you saw, like, Vicious Syndicate. It's one of those things where forever you'd go into Wild and you'd just be like, I don't even know what a deck list is in this format. So I'm just hopefully I landed on the good thing.
Yeah, I think.
Tempo
and now we're
Storms
actually getting a little bit of a look at it.
Yeah, Tempo Storms wasn't a weekly one, was it? Wasn't it just a
No,
Wild
they're doing
tournament
like an every
one?
now and then thing.
Yeah.
Well, they had it before the Heroic Tavern Brawl that was Wild. But it was very rare that it came out, and I didn't really find it very accurate, to be honest. But it seems to be like now that, because Blizzard's put a little bit behind Wild, that suddenly the community is grasping
Supporting
on it a little
as
more.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Tempo Storm's getting better. It's getting more updated more often, which I like, and that's what I would hope from this tournament. And I love that it doesn't take that much like interference from Blizzard to push everyone kind of into the Wild, sphere
Mindset? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And the other thing though too is the really, like, what I found very exciting about this tournament was it was a bunch of names I had never heard before.
Yeah.
You're like, these are actual Wild specialists. Holy crap, that's awesome.
It took me so long because I'm playing the Reno N'Zoth mage deck. And I was like, I'm looking at these names and I'm like, I don't know what any of these are. What the heck are these names? And then I'm like, oh, wait a second. McNuggets. But it took me a lot longer to get it than I would like to actually.
So I will say this, though. I do know who Control is.
Yes.
Control has been for a while, in NA at least, known as like the wild guy. Mm-hmm. So I had heard his name.
Yeah, you mentioned him.
He's also
last
Canadian,
week.
so.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. But it's cool that like the wild guy made it into the wild tournament. Yeah, like it proves it validates him as being the wild guy for so long. So yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, and Jocelyn's happy because nationalism.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I am very proud of my country. We are good at Hearthstone. Knock on wood for the last
hockey and
Hearthstone.
Game,
but hockey and Hearthstone. There we go.
I'm proud of my country too because Hearthstone seems to be the only esport we're good at.
Yeah, Hearthstone came along and gave us a chance. Thank you.
Anyway, so let's talk about some of the popular decks. So Aggro Shaman was one of the big popular decks. That being said, a N'Zoth variant made a strong showing. Masink, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, from Japan, took a N'Zoth Shaman into the top 8.
Yeah, N'Zoth Shaman is really good in Wild.
N'Zoth anything is really good in Wild because you still have access to all the Nax cards.
True. But like that deck is one I played kind of a lot last season, just because it. Like having Sludge Belcher back is amazing when you N'Zoth, right? Because N'Zoth, the one problem with N'Zoth in Standard is you can't really bring back that wall, right? The Death Lords and the Sludge Belchers.
Yeah.
So a lot of times you spend 10 mana bringing back a bunch of stuff, and then they just kill you. And you're like, oh man. Like,
look at all my cool stuff.
Look at all this stuff I just played on this board. And they're like, I don't care. Shoot you in the face, punch you with all my guys. Sludge Belcher really makes that strategy shine, right? Because you spend 10 mana playing one thing, but it plays a bunch of stuff, but then there's also walls involved. So, yeah, it really makes a huge difference. And then, of course, you got cards like the Power Mace, which really enable aggro again. You've got Crackle, which enables aggro again.
Sadly, so, Crackle was in, I believe, every aggro shaman, at least in the top 8.
Deck, yeah.
At least in the top 8, because those are the deck lists I can see. And the running Trog, the running Totem Golem, the running Framewraith Face.
Well, Sir Finley, too. Sir Finley's a huge deal because totems suck in an aggro deck, right?
Even outside of just the aggro, Sir Finley, I think, was the second most played legendary minion, just because who doesn't want another class's freaking hero power?
Warlock doesn't want another class's hero power.
Well, everyone else wants Warlocks.
Yeah, Patches was the only thing that beat Sir Finley in terms of how many decks he was put in.
Yeah, we don't want to mention that, right? That's a standard card. We don't need to mention that factoid.
So Patches, Pyros, and Lyra all made the list of popular legendaries. Yep. Those are the 3 standard ones. That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, and Leroy as well.
Oh, and Leroy. Leroy's like an old last card, right?
Yeah, Leroy was the 3rd most used. His office still standard as well. Dr. Boom was 5th most.
Yeah,
5th place,
and 3 out of 24. Like not even up there in everything.
Not even that's not a significant amount of Dr. Booms at all.
Tied with Reno. I thought we'd see more Reno, but that being said, if you watch the top 8, you saw quite a bit of Reno because Reno N'Zoth Mage did pretty darn well, and also apparently is now dating Jocelyn because that's all she's playing.
Who was the guy who actually brought all Reno decks? And he crushed the entire tournament. It was an NA guy. I can't remember. I don't think his deck lists are up here, but basically he had Reno Mage, Reno Warlock, and some other control deck, and he went like 18-1 in the tournament. Like he never lost.
I can't remember.
It's not. His lists aren't up here, but yeah.
I'm just looking to see if I can find
everybody.
There was only one NA guy that made it. Well, you've got control.
Well, it was
Canada.
2 from each region, right?
That
go through.
And the 2 NA were McNuggets and control.
Okay, so maybe it was the EU guy that I'm thinking of.
Possibly because there's one EU deck.
Yeah, because it was. I think Alb was also EU, and there was one other guy from EU. So,
General.
But it was really impressive to watch him just like crush everybody with these Reno decks, and he looked like he was going to lose over and over and over again, and he just kept finding ways to pull it out. It was like heel bot, and then he plays the Reno, and then it was really cool to watch.
Yeah, General was the other EU player that qualified
General,
in the top 8.
That's the one I'm thinking of. He went 18-1. Yes.
Yeah, he's looks like he's a Russian player if I remember correctly.
Yep. Yeah, he just cruised through the tournament. It was kind of insane.
Yeah. But there were other. Token Druid was big. I wouldn't call it Egg Druid. There were sort of eggs in some of them, some not in others. Like Control ran 2 dragon eggs but no Nerubian. Alb ran 2 Nerubian eggs but no dragon eggs. And Shenhai ran just 1 Nerubian egg in his. So a lot of kind of variance between archetypes there. Sure. But still a lot of...
Here's the crazy thing, too. If you played Jade Druid in this tournament, you basically played a standard list. Like that's a deck list that is, I think there was Living Roots.
The
only
Royal Bays,
possibly Azure Drakes, I think,
Royal
which technically are wild now.
Yeah, Royal Bays ran 1 Living Roots and 2 Azure Drakes. Everything else in that deck is standard legal. He did not even run Raven Idol, which some people do run in Wild Jade Druid, but he didn't need it. He made it the top 8 with a damn near standard deck list, which should just go to show how strong Jade Druid can be, especially in a tournament environment.
Yeah, like he even put in like the earthen scales and stuff, made it. So it's a very just strong deck in general. It's very strange to me, and this probably won't ever happen again. If they continue to run these wild tournaments, 5 years from now, you will not see a standard list be in a wild tournament.
I can't wait.
This is kind of good, though, that there was only, out of all the decks that everyone brought, like the ones that ended up in the top 8, the Jade Druid is the only one that's actually really close to being a standard list. So I think that speaks to the strength of Wild, is that, like you can't just come in with 4 standard lists and run the tournament, right?
Yeah, that's true. It's a good point.
The other kind of archetype that I was surprised to see so much of in the top 8 was Inner Fire Priest, but then I remembered, you can put Death Lord.
You put Death Lord and Light Bomb and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and Light of the Naru, Velen's Chosen, Zombie Chow, I think, was run in both McNuggets and Controls. As a matter of fact, the funny thing about McNuggets versus Controls Inner Fire Priest is they were nearly identical. The only difference was Control had 2 Akanai, 1 Shadow Word Pain, and Nuggets went for 1 Akanai, 2 Pain. That was the only difference between their deck lists.
It's a super strong list in Wild because, like you said, Velen's Chosen is huge, Light of the Naru is huge. But the fact that Shadow Visions was a card that was recently added makes that just archetype so much stronger because you can find the spell you're missing, right? Like a lot of times before, you would draw your Divine Spirits, but you wouldn't have your Inner Fires, and you couldn't actually finish them off. Now with Shadow Visions, you're like, I just find the other piece I don't have. I find my combo every time.
Yeah, they need more of that in other classes. I want to see more combo decks in other classes. So don't just copy the card, obviously, but give us a similar way to piece together our puzzle.
Finding your stuff in a card game is so good and satisfying.
Yeah, it is.
We need that in like every by the way, somebody in chat just asked, not even Mulch. No, not even Mulch made it into that deck list, the Jade. So, which I found surprising as well. Like that's the only removal they have, but basically the Druid just relies on, I don't remove your stuff because I just keep playing bigger stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm good.
You have to remove, or I have the dudes to remove your stuff if I absolutely have to.
Yeah. You know what I'll use to remove your dude? This 8/8 I just dropped for 1 mana.
Exactly.
It'll probably get the job done.
Most likely. By the way, if you want the most unique Inner Fire Priest list, look up Shenhai's because he had 1 genie in there.
Ooh,
nice.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm definitely grabbing that.
Yeah, he's bringing he brought the spice, the flavor to this, for sure. Pirate Warrior was also extremely popular. Someone definitely held their multiple beers because multiple Pirate Warriors were brought.
Sure.
But there's a reason.
That ship's cannon.
Yeah, ship's cannon is disgusting. You coin ship's cannon out, and the next turn you like Nazas first mate into South Sea Deckhand, and deal 6 to their board.
Oh, you know what? You know what Pirate Warrior really needed? A makeshift fireball. That's what they needed.
Sure. Yep.
They also needed Deathbite. I was almost at back. They never had it outside of Wild, but they need Sir Finley back. They lost Sir Finley recently, not in Wild. He's still there, talking in his adorable, bubbly British accent.
Yeah, it's the crazy thing about Sir Finley is how much he adds to that deck, because basically for an aggro deck, the warrior hero power is the most useless hero power, right?
Yep.
So anything else is better. All 8 are better than the one you already have. So, and plus it's just a viable turn 1 play. So it's just, that card makes the deck insane.
And freaking Deathbite, man. When you think you forgot about how damn good that weapon is.
I always put in 1 Deathbite and 1 Arcanite Reaper when I was playing it, but everybody basically chose the double Deathbite method. And I get it because it comes out earlier. But I always felt kind of bad when I whirlwinded my own dudes. Because all of my guys have 1 health,
Yeah.
But, it does make sense. 1 turn earlier, plus all the upgrade stuff you can do. Oftentimes you don't even ever actually trigger the death rattle of Deathbite because you just keep upgrading it, right?
And then,
plus, even if you do, you just have to have a Berserker on board, and then you
there you go. Yeah, get a Berserker on, or get a South Sea Captain on board, and then your guys don't die.
Yep. Yeah. The big outlier for Pirate Warrior was who brought Taunt Warrior? Masink. Again, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but he brought Taunt Warrior because, hey guys, Sledge Belcher has Taunt. In case you forgot. Also, you can put Revenge back in your deck. You get Deathbite, and Sleep with the Fishes is even better. So,
as if Sleep with the Fishes was ever bad.
No. Yeah. Well, it was bad before other things rotated out.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And I remember being really sad because that is still some of my favorite art in the entire game. I'm glad. I'm not glad to see it played against me, but I'm glad the card's finally getting used because cards with awesome art should get played. Damn it.
This actually looks like a really strong list. I was just checking it out. Yeah. I think I might try this in Wild.
The Pirate Warrior?
No, the Taunt Warrior. It looks
Taunt Warrior.
Really strong. Yeah.
It's legit.
Yeah, Stonehill Defender being able to get Sludge Belchers too is a huge deal. So
that is another archetype I'm getting a little winded with seeing on ladder.
Sure.
Because every time
it's annoying when you see it on ladder for sure.
Every time I think I'm done playing against it, another one pops up. But but yeah, it is an archetype I always wanted. So I am glad it's part. I'm glad it exists and I'm glad it works. But I'm a little bit. I definitely start going every time I.
It could work a different way. They don't have to give him Ragnaros hero power.
Yeah.
They could give him something else.
Yeah. It's a minor thing. Like I said, I'm really glad that the damn.
What if Sulfuris gave you a 3 damage ping instead of 8 damage random?
Random, yeah.
I'd be okay.
That might be better. Like it's like double shadow shadow form.
I would love
Yeah, and it's 1 more than the Justicar Mage Hero power upgrade.
Sure. Yeah.
It'd be
very powerful.
I would absolutely love that, but I do want a devil's advocate and be like, then it shouldn't be Sulfuris because Ragnaros in Hearthstone is 8 random damage. That is just synonymous. Or 8 random something, because we also have Light Lord.
Healing, yeah.
And then they would have to, we'd need new art and we'd have to rename it, and I would still be okay with all of that, by the way. So, anyways, again, this if you want to see these deck lists that we're talking about here, we'll have a direct link in our show notes, but just go to Hearthstone and look for the top decks from the 2017 Hearthstone Wild Open Qualification Tournament. It's a really, really catchy title. But go look for that post. Our buddy Flux Flasher put it up. They have 6 of the top 8 players, all of their deck lists up there for you to take a look at. Some fantastic deck building here, guys. Definitely get out and try them if you haven't already. Now, before we wrap this episode up and take an email or two, let's thank our patrons supporting us over at patreon.com/TAC. All 500 and load, please, 13 bosses over there at patreon.com/TAC. The number changes. I can't remember what it is, man. Got a lot of bosses. We're happy to have all of you. As we mention every episode, this is what we do for a living now. Multiple podcasts, not just this one. But we do appreciate all the support that we get. And this episode, thank you to Carl L., Clark P. Oh, I know that Clark. Thanks, Clark.
I know that Clark, too.
Brock R., Robert M., and Dejan. I'm so bad Add name pronunciation. Last initial D. Everyone brought in their last names this week. Yay! So, thank you everyone very much for your support. And if you enjoy the Angry Chicken, or you can at least stomach it and want to throw a couple bucks our way, do so at patreon.com/TAC. All right, let's take an email and wrap this up.
Hello?
Hello, it's me.
Hello?
Just quickly, did you get my message?
Yep.
Oh.
Hello, brother.
You can send your emails to tacpodcast@gmail.com. Mike writes in this week and says, "Greeting red-faced roosters," but it strictly says chicken on the show. We can't be... All right, whatever. He said, "Hearthstone has been my main Blizzard game of choice for quite a while, but with Heroes 2.0, I have been getting into HOTS as well. Blizzard has created all these wonderful universes, and HOTS is such a fun place to see, to be able to see all these great places in one spot. But they are missing one key ingredient: Hearthstone Heroes!" It was a bunch of exclamation points. Hearthstone started off as a Warcraft-based universe, but has since branched off and now has many of its own unique heroes, such as Elise Starseeker, Sir Finley Merkelton, Patches the Pirate, and so forth. I know you all play Heroes of the Storm. Don't you feel slighted that you don't have any heroes from your game? I mean, that's a big word. It's not our game. It's Team 5's game. Who would you like to see from the Hearthstone universe out of the Heroes of the Storm? What do you think their kit would look like? We have Valeera, first off.
Yeah, but Valeera is a Warcraft character.
Valeera's a Warcraft character, yeah.
Valeera is not a Hearthstone character.
Okay, so if you don't read the comics, which aren't even considered canon anymore, I don't think, sort of, kind of, maybe.
Some of them are. Yeah,
some of them are. And unless you're a rogue, now in Legion, Valeera really hasn't been a Warcraft character for you. And
but Valeera, she's been in Warcraft before, previously.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew who she was.
Yeah, and she was introduced into Heroes of the Storm when she kind of came back into the Warcraft universe, like into the spotlight, kind of, with the Rogue class hall. So I still argue that, like, she is as much Warcraft, if not, you know, a little bit Hearthstone. Okay, yeah, she's definitely more prominent in Hearthstone and has been since the beginning of Hearthstone, but she's still a Warcraft character. She's not a unique to Hearthstone character at all.
That's not what I was arguing. Thank you for doing the YouTube comments and Lodvar in the chat room. I am aware she's in Legion.
I'm just saying she's been in the game
yeah,
before.
If we're talking Hearthstone characters, we gotta go Innkeeper, we gotta go Lise, we gotta go Finley. Like, these are, like, to me, or like Aya.
Yeah.
These are
some
like
of the Mean Streets characters. For
yeah,
sure.
these are like purely Hearthstone people. So
and
I think
all
that's
of
where you really have to go.
New School Legion World of Warcraft players, get the hell off my lawn because Valeera showed up in the Wrathgate event. Okay, I'm sorry that you can't go play because you're not badass enough to have been playing since Lich King. Step off.
I would really like to see the Innkeeper. I think that would be a super cool hero.
And they teased him at BlizzCon like 2 years ago. Yep. They had all the like ones they were like considering or working on or kind of spitballing. They had all these pictures pop up, and then the Innkeeper from Hearthstone came up, and I was like, yes! And we still haven't seen him. And that was back in like literally 2014, I think.
Yeah, that's forever ago. But he'd be very cool because he could kind of be, he could essentially like throw down a Hearthstone board or do some cool thing like that. And he doesn't have to necessarily be, like, he'd be kind of like a weird supporty type character that does something totally different and weird. I would love it. Also Elise. I think Elise is another cool character.
I think Elise is
seeing.
Elise or Reno is right at the any of the explorers.
Oh,
really.
Reno, hell yeah.
Any of the explorers.
What does Reno do though? Like, he just runs along, then he just like
he's a support.
A fort to completely healthy again. All of a sudden, he's just support, like, hey, man. And we're rich.
That would be amazing. And so frustrating to play against, and so therefore perfect.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no. I was just bringing it up because I think Valeera, of all the Hearthstone heroes, and I'm talking original, not the ones we can buy, she's I think belongs more at this point to Hearthstone than Warcraft, whereas every other Hearthstone hero, like, they made their name for themselves in Warcraft before Hearthstone. But yeah, I absolutely want Hearthstone heroes in Heroes of the Storm. We've mentioned this on Into the Nexus multiple times. There have been many of them crafted on Heroes Forge. If you're not aware of that podcast, definitely go check that out. But we need some of the explorers. Although mentioning patches, like I didn't even think about that. I would love patches.
Oh,
that
patches.
would be such a
Oh my
delightfully.
That would be so cool.
What a
shot out of a
wacky,
cannon.
what a wacky ass hero that would be. Just like floating around, and you know those things, they have like anuses in game. If you go around the backside, they're super weird looking. Like that'd be such a silly character. I love silly heroes, so absolutely, I vote patches. Bring him in.
All right, I'm down. You know, it's funny though. People in chat are mentioning names. I think there's a lot of people that are in WoW that people don't know those characters exist.
Yeah,
anymore.
exactly. Yeah,
Harrison Jones was
Harrison
very
is
much
in
a WoW guy. Yeah,
he had a whole big, huge quest line in Cataclysm.
In Cataclysm, yeah, you actually had to like follow him around.
You followed him around
and basically went spelunking, right?
Yeah, did Indiana Jones things, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, get out of here because
he said Gazrilla. Gazrilla is a boss that you fought. I remember killing that guy many, many times. There's tons of these. WoW has so much going on in it that it is hard to like remember all the characters that actually exist there. But yeah, there's plenty now at this point for Hearthstone. So
yeah, if you pull from Mean Streets of Gadgetzan, if you pull from League of Explorers, and even somewhat, although they did have an event in WoW that put a lot of the characters from Hearthstone into World of Warcraft with the Ungoro expansion, there's still some uniqueness there. But I think League of Explorers and Mean Streets of Gadgetzan were really the two that gave us a lot of unique to Hearthstone characters. So I think you could pull safely from either one of those. Yeah, but yeah, I like the Innkeeper idea. And I did Heroes Forge. We forged Sir Finley, Kristen and I, and it was super fun. So if this kind of thing sounds cool and you guys are into kind of thinking of what could come to Heroes of the Storm, then check that show out. Because it's a lot of fun and I love Kristen. So
it's a good show.
They should bring Harris Pilton in, and she can throw 24-slot bags at everyone. That would be lovely.
How about Arc Thief or Fawn? That could be a cool hero too.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually a lot of Hearthstone-only characters that would make great heroes.
Okay, all right. Around the table, if you had to have one, who would it be? Would it be the Innkeeper?
Actually, I like Elise. I think I want Elise.
I want Sir Finley. I love more Sir Finley, and again, he's a Hearthstone character that's come to World of Warcraft, right? Because he's got his chain, he's got his quest chain and Legion. But yeah, I just want more Sir Finley because he's freaking adorable, and so far we've only really got Murky, right? So more Murlocs.
And now that you've got me thinking about it, I think if I had to go with one, I want Kazakus, man. Put Kazakus in there.
Kazakus not bad. I like that pool.
It would be cool if you could do something with either Hearthstone characters, so like the Innkeeper, or possibly Kazakus, like kind of bring the Discover mechanic in, or like the Innkeeper could draw a card and that was your power until, you know, you had to draw another card or something like that. Like a kind of limited run, build your powers as you go kind of thing would be cool for the Innkeeper. And same with Kazakus, like spend a bunch of mana and get a set of random effects that you choose. That'd be neat.
I think Innkeeper should be like Pokemon Trainer in Smash Brothers. He should have like he basically stays back and you can alternate what Hearthstone hero he's sending into battle. So maybe we could get 4 Hearthstone characters in with the one Innkeeper. Like throws a card out and Elise just like materializes and he's like, all right, Elise, come back. And like Ragnaros, I choose Ragnaros is already in the game, but I don't know.
But yeah, like the ability to play cards and summon that hero to help you. Yeah, that'd be neat.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. That'd be sweet. I love Denmark in the chat room. It says, Nat Pagel, please take him to Heroes. We don't want him.
Pagel's from WoW too, guys.
Pagel is WoW.
You're a living YouTube comment right now, Jocelyn. That's not the point. That's not the point. First, second.
All right. Oh wait. Honorable mention: Don Hancho. I want some Don Hancho.
Oh, there you go.
I want an ogre with a machine gun.
He was a really cool character design that was an awful card and never saw play. So let's maybe actually see him in play in Heroes of the Storm.
And let me play a 2-headed ogre by myself. Like Cho'Gall is cool. Let me be a 2-headed ogre by myself, please.
Yeah. As long as Cho'Gall stays a 2-player ogre.
Yeah. Cho'Gall's fine the way he is, but yeah.
Yep. All right, fantastic.
Just run around with 2 heads and a machine gun. That's all. It's not too much.
It's not too much yet.
That would they could just put that in as like a Rainer skin because he already has the machine gun and
that actually would be bad. Yeah, Don Hancho Rainer. Yeah. Oh my god,
that'd be so good.
That would be the only thing that could replace my American flag codpiece because
That's my favorite skin too.
I'm super into that skin.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Well, all right. That's going to wrap it up for this episode. Extra super special shout out to the chat room who, listening on podcast, you're probably really not noticing, but they sat through the stream strip going down because of us, me having a hardware issue while I fixed that for 5 minutes. They still stuck around. And then we also had Twitch issues, and you're still sticking around. So thank you all so much for watching live. Twitch.tv/AMoveTV is the place to do that. If you've never tuned in live, go check it out. Thank you again to our epic patrons, patreon.com/TAC. Go there if you want to support the show. It is the best way to do so. Thank you to our producers, Declan H. and Peter Williams. Follow the show on Twitter. It's at TAC Podcast, TAC Podcast. And other than that, around the table, Jocelyn, where can folks find you?
Me first?
Switching it up.
This is the first time in like 200 and some odd episodes. You can find me on Twitter and Twitch. I'm at JustPlays. You can find me right here on twitch.tv/AMoveTV. Tomorrow night, we are recording our E3 wrap-up for Gamers Inn. All the VODs are also available if you guys missed our live shows, and it is all available on iTunes and podcast form as well. So it's been a crazy week. Lots and lots of stuff going on Gamers Inn. So make sure you guys come and check it out because we have a lot to talk about tomorrow night.
Oh, yeah. Just a few things, you know. Dills, how about yourself?
Check me out, twitch.tv/WillieDills, Twitter @WillieDills, and I'm going to be participating in this Tempo Storm Gladiator Cup thing, but I don't know all the details yet, so pay attention to my Twitter. That's what I'll know. I'll know more, and I'll tell people about it. Also, if you're a patron of this show, look at the page, guys. Just you know,
patrons.
Just check out the page.
Check it out. Go to Patreon, especially if you're $2 or more.
Yeah. Especially those guys.
Go keep a look over there. Just saying. Okay, folks, I'm on the internet as well. Not just right now talking to you on a podcast, but I'm on Twitter at GarrettArt. I'm at amove.tv doing every podcast I do. It's there. Check it out. Got a hero show that I already mentioned. Got a car show I'm doing twice a month now called Mostly Car Stuff. Go check that out. My solo show. Just amove TV. Go there. Do that. That's cool. Very cool. And we'll bring this show to an end. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And until next time, job's done.
Job's done.
Job's done.
Yes! Whoa, Iggy. Iggy.